Not a horror story, just funny. I worked at Wendy's when they had salad bars. You could get a single serving bowl. They used to serve eat-in chili in styrofoam bowls, and the large doubled as a chili bowl, or all you can eat platters. The taco salad bottom plate. On a slow afternoon, this guy came in and got a single serving bowl. After a few minutes, our manager motioned to me and the sandwich guy to discreetly take a look at the salad he was making. The guy had filled the bowl with salad, then made a ring of overlapping cucumber slices to extend the lip of the bowl upwards. He filled that with salad, then added another ring. It took several minutes to build this thing, but by the time he'd finished, he had a tower of salad well over a foot tall. WTH, multiple rings of cucumber slices containing it. That salad was an engineering marvel. He carefully carried it back to his table, sat down, then looked up guiltily as our manager walked out to him. The manager handed him a free item coupon and said, "That is the most impressive salad I have ever seen. Your next one is on me." I served at Golden Corral for 6 months, and it was a god-awful place. You'd think it would be easy, because you don't take orders, right? Wrong. Cleaning up the messes, bussing tables, getting drinks and clean plates, singing for birthdays plus side work definitely kept you busy. Most of the customers weren't the greatest. They made an appalling mess, let their kids run wild, didn't tip. We were paid $2.13/HR and needed tips, no matter how much you bent over backward for them. I saw so many unaccompanied kids reaching into the buffet serving dishes. I saw one kid dip his marshmallow into the chocolate fountain, lick the chocolate off, and put the same marshmallow back in over and over. The customers weren't normally very easy to deal with. Rudeness was the norm there. For example, people got into a physical fight over a table on Easter Sunday. The managers were dicks. They abused everyone, both seemed to hate women, and took advantage of the fact that a lot of the staff was foreign. When we got a negative mystery shop report, we all were gathered into a meeting to be screamed at. When the next shop report was excellent, nothing at all was said. The report was just posted to the bulletin board. My one boss told me to be sure to report all my tips to the eyes. Since he was sure I'd be a waitress all my life, he wanted to make sure I'd get something from Social Security when I was old. Spoiler, I'm no longer a waitress. I have a great job with an excellent retirement plan. Not that serving isn't a good job, but it made me so mad that I was 22 at the time and this was his assumption. The managers carried the tea bags in their pockets. If your customer wanted a cup of tea, you had to track a boss down, and they would snarlingly, begrudgingly hand one over. Servers were also expected to catch and confront people stealing from the buffet, putting leftovers in their bag for example. We weren't allowed to eat. Most cheaper restaurants will give you a meal per shift, but not GC. It was hard, when you saw how much was wasted, to not think you deserved a piece of bread, or broken cookie maybe. To eat you had to clock out, get in line, pay half price, get your plate, and then sit down. After 5 minutes a manager would almost always come over and say we're busy, break's over, so you had to get back to work and throw your food away. I'm hypoglycemic, so my solution was to eat right before work and carry a granola bar in my pocket. I could eat the bar and get away with it in the women's bathroom because the managers were both men. One time, I was so stressed out and trying to scarf down my bar while in the next stall, a very large woman took a very large and smelly dump. I realized that it was one of the worst moments in my life. I quit shortly thereafter, got a much better job, and called up GC's corporate office to tell them everything. I used to manage a KFC with a buffet. On Tuesdays, we had senior citizen discount, so we would have livers and gizzards on the buffet. Typically, they went pretty well but not insanely fast. One day, we just couldn't keep the gizzard pan full, which made no sense. There were only maybe 6 people in the dining room, so, unless they were big time gizzard eaters, one full pan should have lasted a while. I had the buffet worker put a fresh pan out and then watched as a woman walked up and filled a plate with an overflowing pile of gizzards. No big deal if she's actually eating that. It's her asshole that will feel the pain later. As I kept watching, though, I saw her take the plate and dump all the gizzards in her purse. I went to her table to confront her and said that the all-you-can-eat buffet does not allow for tikiat. She screamed at me and said I was accusing her of lying and stealing. I pointed out that her purse was wide open and I could see the quart-size Ziploc bag filled with gizzards. I grabbed the bag and threw them out while she screamed about never coming back and calling the manager, me, and calling the BBB. Surprisingly, I never saw her again. Not a buffet worker, but I was on holiday in the Caribbean, and at the hotel there was an all-you-can-eat buffet. I had finished my dinner and went up to the dessert station, where it had self-serve ice cream, and was in a queue behind two people. The person at the front was by observation a mid-30s Floridian woman. I myself was British, and so was the person directly in front of me. Anyway, she gets a bowl and takes the little ice cream scoop and fucking licks it. Then scrunches up her face, goes to the chocolate flavor, and does the same thing again. At this point I'm just like, nah, I'll pass. The person behind already left, and the one in front of me just muttered, "You fucking pig." She then turns to us with a confused expression and says, "What? There's water to wash it in anyway." So that's how I lost my faith in humanity. Don't worry, I'd lost my faith in Floridians long before. Edit. The reason I could tell she was Floridian was her accent. Hope that clarifies any confusion it caused. My first job in high school was CICI's Pizza. We were constantly dealing with gross things. People sticking gum to tables, walking in wearing swimsuits, dripping wet, with no shoes on. This one we finally told the people they had to stop doing it, and even just some of the practices were disgusting. There's a reason I will never eat grape tomatoes at a restaurant ever again, but the worst was this family that would come in at least once a week. They were all very obese except for the husband, who was super scrawny and looked perpetually exhausted. The woman was missing a bunch of teeth, wore 1970s style glasses, and they all smelled slightly like urine. She would ride in on her scooter and pay for her dinner with vouchers and then make request after request. They never ate off of the buffet, which means that every pizza they ordered was sent to their table directly. I don't know if they still do this or not, and everyone was wrong. I legitimately have no idea whether the son was developmentally delayed or just socially awkward, but it felt like he and the mom worked as a team. One pizza would come out, they'd eat about 3/4 of it, and then realized something was wrong. No problem, we'll make another. No, they wanted something different, a zesty pepperoni with mushrooms. Oh, these mushrooms are canned. I wanted fresh. Also after eating 3/4, so in goes another order only to be wrong. The whole time the woman starts berating whoever is tasked with delivering the pizza, or whoever she can wave over to their table, because none of them get up. They even do this to get people to refill their drinks. As this is all going on, the son is getting more and more upset because his pizzas, that he still ate most of, are wrong and starts getting loud, gets up and starts pacing back and forth, etc. It eventually escalates to a point where we offer to remake after 2 to 3 pizzas, and the woman is yelling about how we keep messing it up. Why would she want to come back here to eat? We just can't seem to get it right. Maybe it's that Mexican we have in the back making the pizzas. If he knew English, maybe he'd know how to do it right. Blah 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 until the manager rushes out and gives them vouchers for a free meal on us, and they okay, well maybe we'll be back, but I just don't know. And then a week, maybe 2 weeks later, here they come rolling back in. I was so relieved when I left for college and I could kiss that job goodbye. I didn't work there, but this is my horror story. I was 13 or 14 and visiting some family in Modesto, California. One day, my fiancé and I are leaving the mall, and he asks if I'm hungry. I say yes, and he says, "You wanna go here?" while motioning to some Golden Corral type place that's built into the mall. I say okay, because I'm a teenaged bottomless pit. We walk around the stations, get our plates full, and sit down to eat. We are eating for maybe 5 minutes when we both hear a loud commotion. Not sure what the sound is. We look up at each other and then around the dining area, both confused as to what we are hearing / where it is coming from. And then we both see it. Across the dining room, a morbidly obese man is sitting at a long table by himself. The alarming sound we were hearing was his loud, guttural retching. That's when I see the most violent spray of vomit I've ever witnessed. There was so much, it must have been a solid 6 or 7 heaves. And he wasn't even slumped over. He was such a big person that as the vomit was spraying out of his mouth, only his head was jerking back and forth. He was trying to cover his mouth with his hand, but it looked like it had the same effect as when you hold your thumb over the end of a water hose. The spray easily covered his table, covered his plates, and then was spilling over the edges onto the floor. Near the end of the heaves, there was less pressure, so it was just oozing out of his mouth and onto his chin, chest, belly, and thighs. Friend and I walk into a buffet that serves pizza, fried chicken and other southern staples. This one huge lady was sitting at one of those large round tables by herself. The table was covered in empty plates, at least 5 or 6 plates. He and I finish eating and start walking past the lady who is at the buffet again when she yells across the room to the manager standing by the door, "Where's the fucking chicken?" We are all kind of in shock that she would say that with families around, but he yells back, "You ate it all." People started to bust out laughing as we exited. We have this huge buffet with a separate dessert buffet that is presented with fireworks and dry ice and people walking around the restaurant with bells every weekend night. This one time we had a hotel guest that kinda resembled Jabba the Hutt in size. She had a walker and used it to sit on if she was tired of walking. Now I usually assume these people just have a disease or disorder which causes them to not be able to lose any weight. This woman was different. She started with 4 eggs, munched down 2 plates of fries, ate 3 steaks, 6 pancakes and downed 7 cokes with that. Yes, I counted. I couldn't keep track of it all, but it was at least 8 plates of food. She then proceeded to wait for the dessert to be set up. It usually starts at 7, and we use "do not cross" tape as a fun prop for the kiddos. She was there sitting on her walker at 6:45. Once the fireworks and ice was removed, she went all in. This woman was taking full cakes to her table, dipping everything in our chocolate fountain and literally pushing kids out of her way to get to some sweets first. I saw her just grabbing stuff with her bare hands. We have these tong thingies for everything, and putting her hands in the fountain. It made me physically sick to watch, man. While I was wasting years and thousands of dollars in the attempt to get a college education, I worked at a Chinese restaurant. The owners were awesome people, BTW, and would feed us at the end of the shift. Anyway, they had a buffet on the weekends, and they had this one land whale who was a regular. This lady could pack away the groceries. When she showed, the Chinese servers would rush into the kitchen and yell, "She here, she here," and the owners, who were also the cooks, would yell, "Oh no, cook faster, and then make a big show of cooking extra quickly. Then the entire restaurant staff would watch her eat with great amusement. Even by our American buffet standards, that lady could eat. Not a buffet worker. This story was told to me by my ex Bill. He worked at one of those Mongolian BBQ places where you load up a bowl with various meat/veggies/sauces and they fry it up on a big flat griddle thing. While he was going to school, one of his coworkers spotted a little old lady who had taken a big gallon Ziploc bag and wrapped the edges over her purse top so she could fill up her bowl and simultaneously shovel a bunch of meat into her purse. Apparently she'd come in and do this with some regularity, and none of the employees cared because they all hated their boss with a passion. I've gotta admit that I admire the idea, easy way to get a few pounds of beef/pork/sausage/chicken for the cost of a lunch bowl. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more daily 6 PM Reddit uploads.